right. Welcome to Bring Water Life as I turn this music down. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Kristin. How are you? As you put the mic up to your... That was quick. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Very good. How are you, Sarah?
Hi, John.
You're
good.
hunched down like me using the mic down here.
Yeah.
I know, right? So how are your Thanksgivings? Good?
Yeah, it was good.
Good? How was your Thanksgiving? I got to talk to you
great.
later. How was your Thanksgiving? What'd you do?
It was great.
Spend with family?
You know what? My mother-in-law flew out for the weekend, so she spent like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday with us, and
And where does she live?
she lives in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So she flew out to San Diego to see you?
She did.
Very good. Awesome. And you were up in my neck of the woods, weren't you, Sarah?
Yes, in good old Fred Neck.
Oh, my God.
I like to call it Fred Neck. But yeah, Frederick, Maryland.
I have not heard that. No, I've heard that before. Yeah,
it's rural spotted Maryland. So.
Oh yeah.
It's God's country.
Yeah.
Good thing you never saw where I grew up, because you would probably say the same thing about that.
You're from Pennsylvania, right?
I am.
I see, so am I. You're from a different part of Pennsylvania, that's all. Yeah,
It's different, all right.
So, welcome to Fairfax, Kristin.
Well,
all the way out. So you're out here. We thought we'd record a podcast. I like to apologize to everybody. We had all in, for intents and purposes, we were going to record a podcast a couple weeks ago when Ann Blankenmiller, our other co-host, and I were out in Kansas City, Missouri, for the National Association of Farm Broadcasters meeting. And I lugged, for those of you who are watching us, lugged all this equipment up to Kansas City, and we were all ready to go. And I don't think I told you the story, Sarah. It started to snow out there. We had about like between 3 and 5 inches of snow while we were out there. And Ann drove down from Lincoln, Nebraska. And I was like, you know what, just get back on the road and go. And so the time that we had slotted for doing a podcast, she was on the road back to Lincoln, Nebraska. And short of me dialing her up while she's driving in the car, we decided to forego the podcast. And that's that. But here we are, right? Back in Fairfax, Virginia. So before we get into what we're going to discuss today, so I guess we were all here last time. We decided to forego the birthday game and do a what do you got? And I'm going to put you guys in the spot. Sarah, don't roll your eyes at me. No, what do you got? What do you got? What's new? What's new in your world?
New, I guess, we're going to talk about this later, but going to the Irrigation Show.
Have you been to California before?
I have. I've done a road trip out there with some friends in college, and I absolutely love it. My brother lives in San Diego, so I'm actually going to go visit him after the show. So I love California. Great weather. Always a fun time.
So you've been to San Diego before?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
Have you been to Long Beach before?
No, I haven't.
Tiny little town on the beach.
Yeah. I hear great things about it, though.
From who?
Family over Thanksgiving.
Long Beach is a it's a small town. Not many people have been there before, but they've heard of it. And so I'm curious, like, who people have who's been there before.
Well, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. Is it in LA? Like
it's about 40 minute drive from LA. No traffic. Good luck with that, right?
Depending on where in LA, it can be anywhere
LAX.
from 40 minutes to 2 hours.
Well, yeah,
probably.
if you're north of LA, forget about it. But yeah, it's a good little drive from LA. Most of us are driving or flying into LAX and driving down from LAX to get there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. So what do you got, Kristin? What's new?
Well, I made some observations over Thanksgiving week. I haven't been in San Diego for very long, and I spent my Thanksgiving, the weekend after, at the beach, and realized that
San Diego Beach.
Yeah. Well, I went to Huntington Beach, which is just a little bit north.
Oh yeah.
And then I also took my mother-in-law to La Jolla Cove.
It's gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
So I've stayed at the La Costa Resort out there in the past. It's gorgeous out there in La Jolla. It's a beautiful place. Yeah.
So I made this observation this morning. Of course, we have a couple of employees that live out in California, including myself.
Right.
And, they were freezing this morning because it was 50 degrees when they woke up. And so what I had realized that, a good weather day in Virginia in the wintertime is equivalent to a bad weather day in LA in the wintertime. And it just kind of made me chuckle a little bit, as well as, a couple of my family members that were back in Pennsylvania. I hear they had a very cold Thanksgiving, like a 12-degree Thanksgiving.
The most. What was it? It was. It's Weather Talk here on Bring Water Life.
Yeah,
What? It was cold where we were on Thanksgiving
I don't know
Day.
the temperature, but it was frigid.
Yeah, I didn't step outside.
So it just made me appreciate,
Yeah.
I guess, that we had our back door open, eating
Yeah.
Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. No,
And
I don't.
I chuckled a little bit. And this is the time of year, though I'm breaking my rule, this is the time of year in California that I don't talk about the weather to the people I know back east. But I did make this little funny picture of we had my husband's cousin, who's 6 years old, was also at Huntington Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And we were playing with, making sandcastles and shoveling sand. And I had the little plastic shovel and I took a picture of it. I'm like, midwinter, I'm going to post this on my Facebook and say, this is the only thing I'm shoveling this winter.
That'd be great. And we've already had, my kids have already had a day off of school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was last week? I was out of town. I was in Greensboro.
It was last Thursday. It snowed.
Yeah, quite a bit. Like your parents got about 5-8 inches of snow up there, and it hasn't stopped raining since. I mean, it's been raining the whole time, but
yeah. I didn't know it was supposed to snow, so I literally woke up, looked out the window, was like shocked.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I've missed doing podcasts. I feel like I've been lugging this thing around, and every time I turn around, I can't do a podcast. So this is good. It's good to have you in the office. We're not looking at you via Skype window.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Do a podcast. So
I feel a little isolated sometimes.
Out in San Diego. Whenever you want one of us to go to San Diego to visit you, just let us know, and we'll come out to San Diego.
The invitation is always there.
I think we'll do some remote recordings from San Diego at some
traveling
point.
podcast.
Yeah, the traveling podcast.
That's a great idea.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fine. We'll work it into our budget.
Okay.
It's fine. We'll get one of IGIN's advertisers to sponsor us out there. Be good, right?
Yeah. Well, there are a couple that are nearby,
I know.
so they might.
That's right. My Thanksgiving was great. We stayed in. I love not doing anything at all. It's amazing how, like, adults, you pride yourself on not doing anything, but as a kid, you want to do stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever I say I did nothing, I did get a smile on my face. I did nothing. It was great.
Yeah, there's some really good memes out there about that.
If a kid didn't do anything, you'd be like, oh God, I didn't do anything at all. It was, we hosted Thanksgiving, had my sister-in-law visit us. It was quite nice. And so what do you got? The week before, I attended a leadership conference down in Greensboro, North Carolina. And I'll talk more and more about kind of the things we learned throughout different episodes of the podcast. But it was the board member who suggested that I attend this called it I won't name it by name, but called it a life-changing experience. And it really was. It was an introspective look on who you are as a person and how you work and how you interact with your peers and colleagues. And I got to meet a lot of really neat people down there. And it rained all week, so I didn't get to really see much of Greensboro whatsoever. But it was funny. So the first day we got there, I flew in late Sunday night, and I just went to the host hotel, fell asleep, woke up the next morning, and we were gonna meet the bus to go out to the campus. And this campus, this foundation was founded by the family who created Vicks VapoRub. That was founded in Greensboro, North Carolina.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So next time it's on Jeopardy, you can know it. And so we visit the campus of where this is, and bus brought us out there. Well, at the end of the day, the bus brought us back to the hotel, and we got to socialize with our, people that are participating as well. There was 28 of us total, 27, 28 around there. 23 of us were on the bus. Well, because it rained so much in Greensboro, it's been raining all over the East Coast. I mean, I'm not trying to complain about it because I know the West Coast needs rain, but it's been problematic how much rain we've gotten out here. And down North Carolina, the root structure for trees is very shallow. It's not very deep, it's very shallow. So when it rains, trees are very prone to tipping over and falling. Sure enough, we're on this big black charter bus, right? Driving along, and I'm in like the second row of the bus, and we stopped for some reason, not sure why. A tree had fallen over a 4-lane road and covered the whole road. That's how big the tree was. And fire, rescue, police hadn't showed up yet at this point. Pitch black. It gets dark like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's pitch black outside right now, and it's 4:49 in the east. So it gets dark early. It's pitch black outside, pouring down rain. Bus driver turns around. Did I tell you the story yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bus driver, I haven't told you this yet, though. Okay.
I have not heard it.
Bus driver turns around and says, hey, did I make it around this tree? And I'm like, I don't know, dude. You're driving. I'm not driving the bus. Like, you're driving. Also, I feel us go up on this, like, my buddy called it the grassy knoll. It goes up on this, like, grassy area. It's not the median. It's off the side of the road in between the road and the restaurant, and decides to go around the tree. Well, sure enough, we get stuck. He's spinning his tires in the grass and the mud. So now we're stuck on a bus in this grassy knoll area with nowhere to go and nowhere to, like, try to get back to the hotel. And sure enough, the next bus can't pick us up until 45 minutes after. So we're at a leadership seminar, right? And I'll stop filibustering a couple minutes here, but we're at a leadership seminar, and some of the people on the bus decide to catch Ubers.
Oh, that's pretty smart.
It's pretty smart, but, like, again, we're at a leadership seminar. All right, so it was very controversial. People getting Ubers for themselves and select few and leaving the rest of the people behind.
Ooh, yeah.
So see what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay, so your distractions, okay, that's pretty good, but now you have 4 at a time.
They weren't looking out for the rest of the group.
Right. And I decided to stick around because I want to see what happens. I'm, like, curious. I'm like, how's the story going to end? Like, I don't want to miss the TV show here. Like, it's a show at this point. I don't want to miss what's going on. So about 3 or 4 groups got Ubers, and they just left to go back to the hotel. And there was a core of us that stuck around, about 12 of us that stayed on the bus. And my buddy called the hotel and said, hey, can you send the bus out, your shuttle bus, to come get us? And they did. So we ended up getting back on that shuttle bus. But in the meantime, I did not tell you this part. The 12 of us didn't coordinate who was going to tip the bus driver. So we also put out 20s. The guy probably made at least $200 in $20 bills on the way out of that bus. So it was well worth it, though. But yeah, that was a good, interesting start to the week of this conference down there. But I don't know. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, so this is Bring Water to Life. Again, we want to get on a more regular schedule, and we were a little bit off there due to travel and weather and things like that. But we're going to be broadcasting from the Irrigation Show next week, which is going to be exciting. And Kristin, you're going to be there with me, and Sarah, we'll see if you're around to see if you can participate too. We'd love to have you.
Okay.
And your quips and your, we want to have you talk more and more.
Yeah, I'm trying.
You're trying? Okay. Well, I'll try to lead you on to try to talk some more. But before we get to the Irrigation Show, I just want to go over some news around the industry first. And of course, I have a copy of Irrigation and Green Industry magazine here.
Oh, great.
And I'll show the, this is the newest one, right?
Yeah, December should be,
this is November.
coming soon, but
well, it's not December
yeah,
yet.
so
It's
this
November
is
27th.
yeah,
That's fine.
Yeah.
After, so hey, still have 3 days left. It's okay, right?
It's old for me because I know, the December is at the printer and we're working on January. So it's just kind of funny. Like, what did we do back then all those months ago?
So I do read this magazine, and one of the things that
I'm glad somebody does.
one, right? No, we have plenty of readers reading this magazine. Immigration compliance, because I-9 report.
Yes.
This was, okay, I always ask you if there's one story if you're going to read this. And of course, the close-ups are great, and the cover story is great too. But if you haven't read this I-9 report on immigration reform, and the immigration compliance, it's really interesting. And this is an issue that's been going on in the green industry as well as the ag industry for. I've been working on immigration issues for 15 years. 15 years, and it's been like this ever since E-Verify started.
Yeah, it's
the
so
whole I-9 compliance, E-Verify, everything. It's tough. It's a tough situation out there for employers.
Yeah. So the author of that, he was a speaker at a conference I was at in San Antonio, and it was such an amazing talk that he gave because he represents employers a lot in these types of things, and the false documentation that's out there is so good. Just because an employer employs someone that has false documentation does not mean that they know about it.
Yeah, that's right.
And then there's also further laws, in places like California, where even if you suspect that they might be illegal, you're not allowed to ask them.
That's right.
So, my apologies.
That's okay. Hey, everything's gonna be all right. Yeah.
That's our advice to all those
That's right.
contractors out there who are trying to hire.
That's right. Yeah, it's and the way the E-Verify works is basically they match up names to Social Security numbers. Well, in the U.S. government system, you have names, Social Security. You have my Social Security number associated with my name, you and everybody. But if I go to an employer and say, okay, my name is Steve Smith, and my Social Security number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that matches up in the U.S. database, I'm Steve Smith, and I'm working for your employer, and that's the employer met the E-Verify requirements, even though I'm not who I say I am.
Right.
And that's a big part of what's going on out there right now. It's just the E-Verify system. And yeah, you're right. And even with the I-9s, some state laws are more stringent than others, California being one, but there are federal privacy acts where an employer cannot ask you certain questions about your status in I-9 verification. You just take what's given to you on its face. So it's putting employers in a very precarious situation here. And this is just the nitty gritty, like what's going on the ground outside of what's going on the southern border right now.
Oh my gosh.
Which is, it's no matter where you fall on the political spectrum, it's an awful thing to see. It tugs the heartstrings, and yeah, it's a tough world out there right now. And I'm curious to see when the new Congress comes back and you have an even more divided government, because I haven't had a chance to talk about the elections yet. We haven't been back on the air. Those members who lost, a lot of them were moderates, both Democrats and Republicans. And the seats that were picked up by Republicans and Democrats that are either further right or further left.
Oh, I was not aware of that.
So it's going to be interesting when they come back. It's not the Congress you saw in the 80s and even early 90s. It's much more divided Congress, and the president has his agenda and what he wants, and now appropriations is being tied up to border wall and border security, and so the government may be closed here in a couple of weeks because of that. Those requests by the president, and all of this, with Democrats coming in, the power to subpoena and all the investigations to the administration, immigration is going to be a big part of this, and it's going to be interesting to see where agriculture falls on this and the landscape industry falls in this, because then you have H-2B and H-2A tied up in all of this, even though that's not really immigration. That is a foreign labor workers coming in to do jobs in the United States. And sometimes they stay, sometimes they go home. It just depends. It's everything is fraud associated with it to some extent, but that's just part of the program.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's safe to say it's not going to get easier.
No, not at all. So we'll see what happens when they come back, but that's something I know that we as an industry are looking closely. And I appreciate your magazine, Irrigation Industry, looking at that and going into detail on some of the challenges that the employers have. But anyway, any questions on that, Sarah? Interesting? Did you know this stuff was going on out there? Were you familiar with it at all before you started working here, or have you heard about it?
No, I mean, you have like a little knowledge of what's going on with immigration, but I didn't know kind of the labor crisis it's causing for the grain industry. And even I've been following a little bit the H-2B visas situation, and it's hard. It's difficult.
I know you used to, in previous lives, you worked in the fast food industry, as many folks had in their past, and they are heavy players in the H-2B debate as well.
Right.
A lot of the fast food workers are also, and even restaurant workers, the National Restaurant Association. And you look at those who work in the kitchen, busboys, things like that. A lot of them, especially when they're seasonal work, they're H-2B employees. So anyway, let's get back to the irrigation show. So you excited to go to Long Beach? Have you been to Long Beach before?
I have.
You have?
Yeah, okay. And every time I've gone, it has been a work-related trip, as this one will be.
Right.
But I really like Long Beach. It has just a good vibe to it, and there's a lot of places to go and eat and drink and be merry. But also I'll be working quite a bit too.
I'm sure you will. Of course you will. A few years ago, I think we were there 3 years ago, was the last time we were in Long Beach. We had the artist Wyland was our keynote speaker. Are you familiar with Wyland, who that is at all?
No.
Gosh, that sounds very familiar.
So
I'm going to look it up as we're talking. How do you spell that?
W-Y-L-A-N-D. It's like Madonna. He has one name, Wyland. And we got him through a connection with the Toro Company. They are big participants in his foundation.
Ooh, okay.
And he paints. He's basically known for painting walls, and he's a whale. He paints whales, like big whales on these big walls. And
Here you go, Sarah.
yeah, you'll recognize some of his stuff, I think. But he was our keynote speaker a few years ago, and it was. I had the unique opportunity. I may have talked about this in the podcast. I don't know.
We might be able to show our viewers
Right.
a picture of this.
And he was very interesting. But he is basically from that area. He's been involved in the community in Long Beach, and when I think of Long Beach, I think of what he's done out there and what he's participated in. And anyway, it's a cool little city, and it fits. I was talking to our CEO today. It fits us well. The Irrigation Show fits in there very well. So for those folks who are thinking about coming and not sure, our show takes over that town. And it's a very cool thing to see that you can walk around the restaurants and you see the people in there and they are with the Irrigation Show. It's not like we're in this huge city where we are swallowed by, what's going on around us. People know the Irrigation Show is in town in Long Beach, which is a pretty cool thing. So, and this year our keynote speaker is a guy by the name of Mark Eaton. And are you an NBA fan, basketball fan at all, Kristin? Do you follow NBA?
I did when I was younger, but I do know who he is, mostly because we've ran the information in our magazine and such.
So do you follow NBA at all? No,
not at all.
Not at all.
But I do know who he is.
There he is. This may have been before you were born when he played. My goodness, because we're talking back in the days of Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, those guys, and he played for the Utah Jazz, and John Stockton played with them, and they had a really good team. And the guy's like 7'4" or something. He's gigantic. He's huge. He's a really, he's not 7'4", but he's a really tall guy. And so he's going to talk a lot about leadership and things like that. It's a little bit out of the industry, out of the green industry. But I know he has some connections to the landscape side, to the ag side. So he's going to talk a little bit about that as well. But his team was really, really good in like the early 90s. But they never won because he had to go through Michael Jordan's Bulls to win, and they never could make it past Michael Jordan's Bulls to win the championship. But I'm really looking forward to hearing him speak. It should be a lot of fun hearing him speak, a little bit out of our, the water irrigation, zone into something that's really interesting.
Well, as you will read in the December issue, I write in my editor's letter that I think sports analogies are so relatable to just about everybody, because at one point or another, someone's been on a sports team. They learn a lot of good lessons early on in life from that experience. So if I think somebody like that can definitely relate to a large amount of people.
And Sarah, so for those who don't know, Sarah runs not only she works on the magazine side of our industry, she also runs all of our social media at the Irrigation Association. And we ran this top 10 reasons to go to the Irrigation Show. Is that right, Sarah?
Top 6.
Top 6. Was it ever top 10?
No.
No, it was always top 6. I'm sure there's more than 6 to attend. But this is the top 6.
We had to narrow it down.
There were so many. You gotta limit it to 6, guys.
Here's what I know.
We were trying for 60, but we had to drop down.
Could you imagine?
We're gonna do a whole year campaign next year.
365 days of Irrigation Show.
That's right. The countdown begins the day after we're going to Vegas. Countdown to Vegas, right?
Yeah.
So just go over some of those and just talk about them.
Yeah, so some of our top 6 reasons were, well, one of the biggest ones was the people, because it's just, what better opportunity to reconnect with colleagues and people that you've met through various places and events. So just a really great time for people in the industry to come together and network and just get to know each other.
The networking opportunities at the Irrigation Show are great. And it doesn't matter if you're just starting out in this industry or you've been in the industry for 50 years. There's always someone new to meet. There's always somebody It's pretty amazing to watch and see people connect and reconnect.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then another reason we had was learning, and then kind of alongside that we had professional development. So those kind of go hand in hand. We have so many classes.
I know.
Certification opportunities and all of those going on. But, even if you're not participating in that, there's, the new technology, new product contest.
Yes, that's right.
So,
See, look at Sarah pulling through in the new product contest.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well, that was actually another one of our reasons was technology.
Uh-huh.
Because, it's an awesome opportunity to see what's come out in the past year, the past few months, and then going forward in the new year, how companies can implement these things they've seen.
It's amazing. When I go out and meet people and speak, people still think that irrigation is run basically with either dragging the hose out there or you just set your timer up to, 3 times a day, or 3, hours a day, 3 times a week, something like that. And it's not. It can be run by cell phones. It can be run by, all kinds of applications, and technology has been really infused in this industry at a tremendous level the past few years. And it's exciting thing to say.
Definitely. Another one of our countdowns was events. And you mentioned Mark Eaton is giving the keynote address, but we also have a couple of other really great events for specific groups of people. We have, our Young Professionals Breakfast, which is really great because, as I've come to learn, this industry is made up of a lot of seasoned folks. And
that is such a polite way to say
that. Bunch of old men, is that what you say?
When I started here and they told me that young professional was 40 and under, I was like, are you serious? They were like, yes.
So I qualify. That's great.
Yeah. I if it's 40 and under, I still qualify. I don't think I'll qualify next year. But yeah, it's but that breakfast is very well attended. We have 115 people signed up for that breakfast right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And we're having a scavenger hunt.
Great.
So did you know that? We're having a scavenger hunt with the Young Professionals Breakfast?
I had no idea. I'm definitely going now.
Yeah, you should. Our communication staff put together this neat little map thing, almost like an Indiana Jones type map, and where people have to go and do certain things, collect things, take some pictures with people.
Is it
and,
like our
find
version
some
of
things out.
Pokemon Go or whatever?
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Not that, disclaimer, I did not participate in that.
My son is obsessed with Pokemon Go. But I think next year you're in charge of developing the app to do some sort of Pokemon Go-esque thing at the Irrigation Show.
I'll get on that.
Yeah, get on that. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. So we have that. We have our Women in Irrigation social, which, is a woman. That is
cool. It's very good.
Yep.
I think that's something we need more of is, that kind of support. And I think it's great.
Yeah. I could go to that too.
I know. Look at you.
So excited.
Not only young, you're a woman. Look at that.
Hitting all those events.
Yeah.
So, and then our final one that we kind of sent out a few weeks ago was just to celebrate the industry. And it's really cool because, this is a week for us to celebrate, how far irrigation has come the past, I don't know however many years, decades, but also, with all the new technology and new products, looking forward to what's coming in the future, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's great. I agree. It's after this show, you do get this feeling of unity and community around the irrigation industry. It's kind of like it breathes some energy into the industry, and it's really good to have us come together once a year to celebrate. Honestly, to pat ourselves on the back and celebrate what we're doing out there, keeping our landscapes healthy, growing the food that we need. It's just a great way to say, we're doing a good job. Let's keep up. These are our technologies, our expertise. Let's keep elevating the industry. And that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
So that's good. Great job, Sarah. Did you come up with all those, or was that a team effort? What's going on? Did you?
I did come up with those.
You did?
Yeah.
Look at that. Is this why you stole her away from me? Is that what's going on here?
Yes.
Exactly. I'm going to call you out right now.
I heard about the 6 reasons to attend, and I said, it's that Sarah, she's got to work for the magazine now.
It's my claim to fame.
That's right. Okay, good. So when are you heading out? When do you fly out?
I fly out Monday.
Monday?
Yeah.
How about you? You're driving up, right?
I'm going to be driving up, sometime Monday afternoon.
Okay.
Trying to time it right so I don't hit traffic.
Good luck.
Thank you. That's always a very
Southern California.
Very busy area. So.
Yeah. I fly out Monday morning early.
I noticed we're the only two flying out Monday. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When's everybody else going out? Later or earlier?
Most people are going.
This is an internal staff meeting, by the way. Now. What's going on?
Most people are going Sunday, I think.
What?
Yeah, to register everyone because registration opens on Sunday.
Oh. Well, I'll be out Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, good. So the show is on Wednesday and Thursday of next week, even though the education classes start on Monday and registration starts, I think, Sunday or Monday morning. So you
Yeah,
can
Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, Sunday
you
afternoon.
can
Start
head
registering on
over.
site, and it'll be good. Plus, you get to see us. We'll record something live out there. We have a little section on the trade show floor where we have some other radio stations and us. We're going to be recording some things and stop by and say hello. And if you are a listener, please let us know you listen to this podcast so we know that we're not talking into thin air or somebody on the other side of this microphone.
Yes.
So good. Well, thank you, Sarah,
Mhm.
for participating, and thank you, Kristin. Hope you had fun with this.
Oh, this has been great.
Do you fly back tomorrow?
I do.
Yeah.
Mm,
Good. Well, good luck with that.
thanks.
I don't know, after our lunch conversation talking about, problems in the air and fears and everything else, I'm kind of like,
Oh gosh, that was a bit morbid.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, a
They
little
just
bit.
left hand turns quick, don't they?
It'll
Well,
be okay.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming out and doing this with us. And thank you,
Oh,
Sarah,
absolutely.
that was a good participatory effort you made
Good.
with
I'm
this
becoming
podcast.
more comfortable with
I
it.
am very impressed. Color me impressed.
Okay.
You can come back.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll invite you back.
Yes. I don't invite everybody back.
Well, I know
I'll
people
bring
are
you back.
lining up to be on here. So. Just kidding. People
You were
We had to
only
lock the door,
like the
actually,
third or
just,
fourth person I asked. But that's okay. You're still ahead of other people. I'm kidding. No, you always have a spot on here. Anyway, thank you very much, and I'll see you on Long Beach. And this has been real life.